The year 1807, a British scientific explorer and surveyor of Scottish origin, Francis Hamilton Buchanan, started his most memorable venture, and that was a study tour of North Bengal and Bihar. It took 7 years for Buchanan to survey that region, and his report included a detailed description of northern Bengal, both geographical and statistical. During his survey, Buchanan discovered the ruins of Mahasthangarh, but he didn't know at that time that it was the famous capital of ancient Pundra. Years later, Alexander Cunningham visited the site in 1889. Appointed by Lord Canning, then Viceroy of India, as an archaeological surveyor to the Government of India, Alexander Cunningham took deep interest in identifying the major ancient cities mentioned by ancient Hindu texts and described by Greek-Roman writers and foreign travelers like Fai Yang and Huangshan. Cunningham finally identified some places mentioned by Huangshan, the Chinese traveler, during the time of Harshvardhan. Based on Huangshan's description, Cunningham was able to identify the ancient capital of Pundranagar, and it was located in Mahasthangarh. But Cunningham was not pleased to see that site. He later wrote in his reports, "The place is so extensive and in many parts, especially amongst the brick ruins, so thickly covered with jungle that it is impossible to make any satisfactory exploration, save at a great waste of both time and money." Although Cunningham thought that it was impossible to explore that region covered with jungle at that time, but due to the efforts of K.N. Dixit, exploration and excavation started at last. In 1928, the first regular excavation at Mahasthangarh was conducted under the guidance of K.N. Dixit. Dixit was able to excavate 3 mounds known locally as Bairagir Vita, Govinda Vita, and the eastern rampart including Munir Khun. After the independence and the partition of India, excavation was resumed in 1960s. When the northern rampart area, known locally as Parashurame Prasad or the Palace of King Parashuram, was excavated. Other places like Khodar Pathar Vita, Mankali Kunda, and other mounds were also excavated at that time. The report of the excavation was published in 1975, and after a gap of 2 decades, excavation was resumed in 1988. Areas near northern and eastern rampart walls were excavated, but the progress of the excavation and the work done was not satisfactory compared to the importance of the site. In 1992, according to an agreement between the governments of France and Bangladesh, the archaeologists of 2 countries started a joint venture operation in this area. The joint excavation by France and Bangladesh governments revealed a highly fortified city with 18 levels. Of these, the period 1 belonged to pre-Maurya cultural phase, or what we call northern black polished ware. Archaeologists found mud-built houses with hearths, dishes, cups, bowls, and other necessary tools during this period. Some call this period proto-historic cultural period or prehistoric cultural period. It is still a subject of debate. Period 2 represented the Maurya period, that is from 366 BC to 162 BC. Bronze mirrors, bronze lamps, wares of pale red color, copper cast coins, terracotta figures, precious stone beads were found during this period. Archaeologists also found broken tiles and other important materials that was not found during the phase 1 or period 1. Period 3 of Pundranagar represents the Shunga Kushana period, and that is the post-Maurya period. During this period, archaeologists found large brick-built houses, better preserved terracotta plaques, figures, precious stone beads, silver punch-marked coins, silver bangle, and other things. Period 4 represents Kushana Gupta period. During this period, archaeologists found substantial amount of Kushana pottery like cooking vessels, saucers, bowls, etc. Glass bangles, terracotta seals, gold, coins, and other things. Period 5 represents the Gupta and post-Gupta period. Archaeologists found the remains of a massive brick structure named Govindavita belonging to this period. They also found several coins, terracotta figures, beads, and other important things. Period 6 represents the Pala period. This period was marked by the Buddhist influence, and many Buddhist establishments were built during this period. Period 7 represents the Muslim phase or the Islamic phase, marked by Islamic architecture and influence, and this is perhaps the last phase of Pundranagar. Excavation during 1991 revealed 3 gateways of the city of Pundravartana, a northern and eastern rampart, and a temple complex. All the gateways belonged to the Pala period. All the gateways had guard rooms in the inner side. 2 gateways are in the northern rampart. The third gateway is in the eastern rampart, almost 100 meters east of Parashuram's palace. It is 5 meters wide and was built during the Pala period. The northern, western and southern side of the fortified city of Pundranagar were encircled by a deep moat. On its eastern side flows river Karatoa. The city has many suburbs and well governed during the Maurya time. A 3rd century fragmentary inscription called Mahasthangarh Brahmi inscription is the earliest epigraphic record of the city of Pundranagara. The language of the inscription is Prakrit, which had Magadhi influence. This record of 7 lines is actually an order issued by the Maurya Empire to the Mahamatra, then in charge of Pundranagara. The importance of the inscription lies in the fact that it is the earliest evidence of Maurya influence over the city of Pundranagara. In this inscription, the Maurya Empire ordered the Mahamatra to fill the storehouse or Golaghar with 4 requisites, namely oil, tree, paddy, and 2 varieties of coins called Gandaka and Kakannika, against any emergency caused by the devastation of crops by parrots, fire or water, or any natural calamities. It shows the relief measures adopted by the Bogra administration during the time of natural calamities in North Bengal at that time. The archaeological excavation revealed that the ancient city of Pundranagar was rectangular in plan, and it was highly fortified, surrounded by walls and moats. Outside the fortified city, almost 100 mounds were discovered, which spread over an area with a radius of 9 kilometers, which means the city was surrounded by suburbs. In these suburbs, the commoners, workers, traders, soldiers, and other people of different professions and different backgrounds lived and visited from time to time. The fortified city or fort was made for kings and nobles and for aristocratic families and for high-ranking merchants as well as priests. The fortified heart of the ancient city was 1.523 kilometers long from north to south, and from east to west it was 1.371 kilometers. The question naturally arises why the ancient Pundra Kshatriyas chose this place called Mahasthangarh or Pundranagar as their capital. And the answer is simple. The city of Mahasthangarh was located on the red soil of Barin tract, which was slightly elevated, and the elevation of up to 25 meters above the surrounding area makes it far-free and free from other natural calamities. The location was chosen because it was one of the highest areas of undivided Bengal and present Bangladesh. Mahasthangarh is almost 36 meters above the sea levels and it was situated on the banks of river Karatwa, which was 3 times wider than river Ganga even during the 13th century AD during the Islamic invasion. But gradually Karatwa lost its importance and with it the city declined. Until the 13th century AD, the city was known as Pundranagara, as mentioned in Ballal Charita and Karatwa Mahatma, two 13th century texts. The city had other two names like Pundrakshetra, land of the Pundras or area of the Pundras, and Mahasthangarh, which means a great fort. The name Mahasthangarh appeared in a 1685 decree. During the Islamic period, people gradually forgot the old name of Pundranagar or Pundrakshetra or Pundravardhan, and the place came to be known as Mahasthangarh. Coins belonging to different periods of history have been found at Mahasthangarh. These coins include silver Panchmark coins and copper cast coins. Two coins belonging to Gupta periods have also found from a village. The later coins of 14th and 15th centuries belong to the Muslim period and to the local sultans and Muslim rulers. The archaeologists excavated the mounds of Govindavita, Khulnar Dhap, Mangalkot, Godaibari Dhap, Totaram Panditer Dhap, Gokul Med, etc. outside the fortified city. All these mounds form the suburbs of the city. There are also major unexcavated mounds like Shiladevi Ghat, Shalibahan Rajar Kacharibari Tipi, Mongolnather Dhap, Chader Dhap, Jogi Dhap, Lohanar Dhap, and so on. These unexcavated mounds outside the main fortified city has many stories to tell. In future, these mounds can reveal interesting facts about the ancient city of Pundranagar, which we don't know and which can change the course of history. One of the important structures inside the citadel of Mahasthangarh is the palace of King Parshuram, who was the last Hindu king of Pundranagar. Excavation inside King Parshuram's palace revealed materials belonging to Pala, Muslim, and British periods. The building has 4 separate blocks with a courtyard and a rectangular boundary wall. Large number of glazed potteries, fragments of a Vishnu Patra, and coins were recovered from this site. There is a Jiyat Kundo or well of life connected to this palace of King Parshuram. The original identity of this Hindu king Parshuram is lost in obscurity. But according to local traditions and folklore, he was perhaps the last Hindu king of that area who fought a Muslim saint named Shah Sultan Mahishawar. This Muslim saint Shah Sultan was the son of a king of Balkh or Bactria in Afghanistan, who became a disciple of Sheikh Tawfiq of Damascus. Shah Sultan came to Bengal by sea to preach Islam and he landed at Shandip Island. From there he came to Hariramnagar and defeated a local Hindu king named Balaram. The minister of this Hindu king Balaram embraced Islam and saved his life. After defeating Balaram, Shah Sultan proceeded towards Pundranagar or Mahasthangarh, where King Parshuram and his sister Sheila Devi opposed him. King Parshuram was defeated in a battle and killed, and Sheila Devi drowned herself in river Karatwa to save her honor. This story has other versions too, but it is important to note how Hindu rule and culture came to an end in Mahasthangarh due to the arrival of Islam. Another interesting structure near Mahasthangarh is Bashu Vihara, which is a complex of two rectangular monasteries and one shrine belonging to post-Gupta period. About 6 km west of Mahasthangarh, inside a village named Bihar in Bogra district. This is the same monastery which was mentioned by Chinese traveler Huangshan during 7th century AD as Po Shi Po. Huangshan mentioned 700 monks inhabiting this place within 56 cells. Almost 250 terracotta ceilings were found during excavation inside this complex. Monastery 1 was built with burnt bricks and was rectangular in plan. There was a pillared entrance hall through which one can enter an inner hall. In the middle of the east wing was a gateway complex. Outer hall has 2 guard rooms. Monastery 1 has 26 monastic cells which covered the 4 sides of a courtyard. While in Monastery 2, monastic cells were built at the back of a veranda, which one can enter through a single gateway. The second monastery has 30 cells, with a large hall in the center and an entrance hall. Excavation yielded almost 60 bronze images, mostly from these cells. Most of these images represent Bodhisattva, Dhyani Buddhas, and other forms of Buddha. Gokul Maid or Lakshmindar Maid is another interesting mound in the village of Gokul, about 2 km southwest of Mahasthangarh. This was named after Behula Lakshmindar, two traditional figures in Bengali folklore. This site is also associated with the snake goddess Manasha. Excavation during 1936 revealed a large stupa of late Gupta period. The cellular style stupa is a very important feature in the architectural style of ancient Bengal. On the top of this stupa, a temple was built during the Sena period. Besides this Gokul Maid, there are other important sites inside the citadel and outside in the suburban area. Archaeological excavation revealed several important cults that once dominated this area called Pundranagar. One such cult is Nath sect or Yogis of ancient Bengal. The mound locally called Jogir Bhavan was actually a settlement of Nath sect ascetics who once dominated this area during the Palasana period. Besides the Yogis or the Nath sects, there were also several Hindu cults which had followers in North Bengal. One such Hindu cult was the worship of god Kartik, the reference of which can be found in Karatwa Mahatma and Kalhana's Ras Tarangini written during 11th and 12th centuries. Situated in the village of Bhagopara, the ruins of Skandir Dhap is actually the remains of a temple that belonged to god Kartika. A sandstone idol of Kartik was also found from this damaged temple. It was a suburb of Pundranagar famous for its worship of god Kartika. Pundranagar witnessed the rise and fall of many Hindu cults and beliefs. Once dominated by Ajivikas and Jainas, Pundranagar gradually became a center of Buddhism, and which again returned to Hinduism towards the end of Palasana period, until its last Hindu king Parashuram was defeated and Hindu-Buddhist culture of Pundranagar came to an end.